Well, we're going to give I think we're waiting for maybe one more person. We're going to give it another minute or so, and then we'll jump right into this. We are going to not take the hour. Thank you for signing up for something that's an hour, but we want to be super respectful of your time. And we are going to probably be able to fit this in about 30 minutes with some question and answer at the end. So we are recording. So if anybody would like this later or want to reference it back, please let us know. We can go ahead and send that over. And yeah, we're just going to be, like I said, super straightforward with it. So if anything comes up and it doesn't make sense, feel free to throw it in the chat or wait till the end and we can go over it again. All right. Let's see, Megan, do we want to, we can probably, one more minute and then we'll start rolling.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can just let them in when they get here, if they get here.
Okay. Cool. All right, everybody. So I'll introduce myself first. My name is Melissa Arcos. I am with Heartland HR and Payroll. So I am an advisor there. I work with a variety of different kinds of businesses with 1 employee to 250. So we specialize in that small to mid-sized market. And one of the best things that I always like to help my clients with is tax credits. This is a big opportunity, whether you are hiring right now or in the future. Definitely something you don't want to miss out on. And when I normally talk to business owners and, people that are hiring consistently, they do not know about it. And the reason for that is it's like the best kept secret, I would say, in the hiring process is this is federal. So it's completely national. So no matter where you hire the employees, no matter where your business resides, this is an opportunity for you to make some tax credits back. So yeah, what I do specifically is I work with the business owners. We get you guys situated for payroll. Payroll is very boring, of course, numbers, taxes, those kinds of things, but also the HR and compliance. So this is a big piece of what I actually work with. A lot of people will come to us initially about the question for payroll, but HR and compliance has become such a really all-encompassing part of a business that you really can't operate without help in that area anymore. So especially if you're in California, you need some guidance because there's lots of labor laws out there. But we can touch on that at a different point. But I will be talking a little bit more in detail about those tax credits, how we can help you guys get them. And I'm going to turn it over to Megan to introduce herself and go in a little bit about Medlin Solutions, and we'll jump into the meat of the meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Melissa, and welcome everybody. We're super excited you guys are here. And as Melissa shared, we have lots of information for you guys throughout this, but we're going to fit it in a short time period. So, like she said, my name is Meghan Medlin. I am the CEO of Medlin Workforce and Reentry Solutions. We're a consulting organization that works with government agencies, nonprofits, and employers. We help with program development, capacity building, sustainability, all sorts of stuff specific to workforce development and or reentry, but also a variety of other topics out there as well. And then I also run a nonprofit organization called Hire. So we will touch a little bit on that as well today, which is the hub for integration, reentry, and employment. And we work with individuals who are formerly incarcerated, and we help get them linked up with resources and employment that they need to succeed. So we have a whole wealth of programs out there. We also put on workshops, educational opportunities to help kind of align service providers in the community and that sort of stuff together. So all sorts of resources that we have there, and looking forward to talking with you guys today.
All right, so I'm going to jump into the work opportunity tax credit info. So what the work opportunity tax credit is, shorten that up as WOTC. This is a federal credit. So the government decided there was a lot of people getting government benefits, and they figured we need to get these people on other people's payroll and get some tax credits involved to incentivize business owners to do that. And so what they ended up doing is providing this tax credit for any and all businesses that are hiring an employee that follows into certain categories. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys and just show you what that looks like, what those categories are, and pretty much why you want to do this. So everybody is able to use these. Like I said, it's a tax credit, and it really goes ahead and boosts the bottom line and creates better teams without breaking a sweat. So the reason why we say that is because you're going to be able to utilize this tax credit to really offset some expenses in the business. Depending on where you're at, it can be a lot of money if everybody that you hire, kind of qualifies you for this. You're going to see a ton of influx in those credits. Even if one person though is hiring, or you're hiring them and qualifies you for this, it's a big deal. Right here, you're going to see this is our WOTC estimator. And so the reason why I show you this is because I just really want you to get a good idea of what this entails. This is your category of people that would qualify you as a business for a tax credit. An unemployed veteran, for example, you guys, if you're hiring a veteran, it is an automatic $9,600 tax credit to the business. And I can't tell you how many times I talk to businesses. I just talked to a manufacturing business. They specialize in hiring veterans, and they've hired 6 this year. So if you do the math on that, we're talking over $50,000 that they missed out on, primarily just because they weren't screening for this WOTC credit. You're talking about qualified long-term unemployed. Somebody's been unemployed for about 27 weeks or more. A food stamp recipient. And the really interesting part about this one is it doesn't even have to be the person you're hiring. It can actually be anyone in their household. So if they say, yes, someone in my household receives food stamps, that's a $2,400 credit to you. We have short-term TAMP, long-term, designated community residents, vocational rehabilitation, and what Meghan was talking about is the ex-felon, SSI recipients. All of these are going to qualify a business for tax credits. The really nice part over here is say, hey, you hire 5 people a year. They say about 1 in 5 people actually gets this credit for a business. And you're going to do that, one time a year, you're going to be making about $3,500 in tax credits. However, if your percentage is higher and you see yourself hiring, maybe 50% of your workforce comes from this, and we're saying on the low end, it's $3,500 tax credit you're going to get. That's $8,750 to you at that year just for hiring, 2.5 people that qualify you for this WOTC. So again, this is a huge miss if people aren't utilizing this, looking for it, or screening for it. And at the end of the day, this is just something that we want to help you get a hold of. So what I'm going to say is I'll stop here because I think that this would be a really good time to have a question. If you guys have questions about the amounts, the people that you're hiring, how that looks, please jump in right now because this would be a really good time we can touch on that before we keep going. Anybody? Or is that pretty clear? I hope I explained it well.
I have a question. If you're going to, I imagine you're already going to cover how are there parameters around how long they have to stay employed? How soon is that? And are you saying it's a tax credit or a tax? I think you said tax credit, not tax deduction.
Right. So it's a tax credit. So it goes into your bank essentially. So when you go to file your taxes, this is a credit that will go against any of that income and revenue that you're going to be able to utilize to offset those numbers and give yourself a credit versus, when people are looking for write-offs and things like this is going to be able to give you a credit in that regard and help you kind of offset a lot of those things.
That's good. And it can carry forward maybe.
Yes, absolutely. It actually stays there for 5 years. So you don't have to use it this year. The year you get it, you don't have to use it. It'll sit there for 5 years. So it's up to you when to use it.
And do they have to stay employed for any length of time?
So they prorate it. So if the 400 hours is for the full credit, and if they stay for a certain amount of time, fully 400, then you're going to get a smaller amount of the credit. But for the full credit, you're probably going to see them around 400 hours. So if the full-time employee, we're talking, 10 weeks, not too bad. If they're part-time, it's a little bit longer, but you will see a portion of the credit even if they do leave early. Great question.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
And Melissa, I actually realized too, maybe we should have done and we didn't do, to see kind of who's in the room as well. So I was curious too, are you guys then like coming in as employers, learning about this for your own business, or are you guys learning this as like a tool to help like educate employers if you're coming from like a service provider standpoint? Because I just realized that may switch some of our questions.
Absolutely.
As well. So I want to throw it out to you guys real quick. What were you guys looking?
You want to put it in the chat? That's easy too. So everybody kind of doesn't talk over each other. You want to just throw in there what you are, if you're a partner, or if you're somebody that is working with business clients, or if you are somebody that will be hiring.
I'll start off. My name is Giovanni Diaz. I'm a job specialist. I work with Friends Outside. also a nonprofit where I focus on assisting the reentry population find employment. But not only that, we go further, right? We look to get them careers. So we help with training. Renee here is also my colleague. He's our job developer. So he focuses more on the training aspects, finding them certain certificates or vocational training that may benefit them in the long run, right? So we're here really just to get educated on how we could present this to potential employers that could eventually, hire some of our clients that are ready to work.
Perfect.
And Renee, feel free to jump in if I miss anything.
Yeah, thank you. Renee Mendoza here. Like Giovanni said, we work for Friends Outside, nonprofit organizations. They've been in existence for about 51 years now. And our population is the reentry population. And our job is to help them get jobs, whether they just recently got released, or are just unemployed and looking for employment and have some type of background. So like Giovanni said, we're here just to obtain knowledge, get educated on how we could go ahead and present this to these employers that are willing to hire our population, because it's hard for them to get jobs. And mm, we want to stop that recidivism. So my job is to match them up with any certifications that they might need. If they need, if they're in the forklift and warehouse field, they're forklift drivers and they want to get certified, we get them the funding to provide those certifications. Or they want to follow any career path as Class A drivers or welders or HVAC, then my job is to get the funding for them and get them certified for that, and then help them get employed within that field.
Perfect. Love it. Well, I'm so glad you guys are here. So some of my talk then kind of carries over. You guys know what I'm doing on my end. And then Terry, yeah, it looks like a workforce development agency. Terry, do you work with any like specialized populations as well, like reentry or veterans or anything like that? You can put in the chat or answer either one.
Yes, I do. And I'd say a proportion of our candidates that we work with have been just as involved. And we also have, a small number of veterans. We work with the VA sometimes, unhoused community, definitely those in the income, lower income brackets. So this could be very helpful for us. My question I was trying to type in the chat was, so on your slide, it mentioned felons. What if we also have people who got criminal records who maybe it wasn't a felony? Are they also eligible?
If they're getting some other type of government aid that allows them to get that credit, they will qualify the business for a credit. And I can send you guys like a flyer or PDF that you can share with these businesses that you're trying to communicate this with, because I do think that I'll give you guys a quick story. We have a franchise, the Edible Arrangements franchise that I was working with, and they have a rehabilitation house around the corner. And they are always looking for jobs, right? And so they would come in and they need to hire. And so they're looking for people to be hired. But a lot of times, because of the house situation, they aren't there very long. So what would end up happening is they would be there 6 months, maybe to 8 months. And a lot of time and resources would go into training these people that are getting the jobs. But then at the end of the day, they know they're going to be a shorter term employment. So I asked them, though, I said, well, if you knew there was a tax credit involved, would that be able to subsidize some of that training time that you're paying maybe your trainer a little extra money for and these things? And they said, absolutely, that changes it for me. And they were way more open to hiring those shorter term employment scenarios, knowing there's a tax credit involved, and it helps cover some of the cost for the training they would be doing more often than they would have normally if they hired someone that would stay a little longer. So that's just one great point, right? To be able to highlight to them any cost involved, the bringing on an employee, this can help offset, or any system they need in place, this can help offset. And we always discuss that even your payroll cost, when you're paying a payroll provider and an HR and you're getting this service, it helps offset that. So especially if they're hiring frequently, this could be a really big thing and a big piece that they're missing right now. So I will give you guys some info you can hand off so they can see the amount of money that looks like. Because I have some clients, guys, that make $100,000 in tax credits when they're hiring. So it's just a matter of who they hire and when.
And then I also saw in there, and I apologize if I butcher your name, but Fauja, looking to hire. So again, we kind of have a mix of both ends here. So that's good information. So, and so, yes, I've been on the side, it sounds like with the majority of you guys, right, trying to get people employed. And then also in the employer side, if you guys are looking to hire special populations, we can talk about that, or we will talk about that. And then also how to help you create possibly support programs or programmings to be able to help support those individuals as well, if needed, you know, within your workplace, depending on your industry. So, perfect. So, Melissa, anything else on the tax credit side you had or anything?
No, I'll just, while you're talking, I'll pull up those figures so everybody can kind of see what that number looks like with, 1, 5, all of that. I'll get that ready to go.
Oh, perfect. And there is a question in the chat too, real quick. So can employers claim for current employees? How far back can they go? And then one question I was going to throw out too was, especially since we're 3/4 of the room is working with like individuals who are like formally incarcerated, that sort of stuff. At least to my knowledge, they have to be released within like 1 year. Correct, to qualify. Is that correct as well?
That's really drilling it down for us, and I don't think I've faced that. It's just somebody that's got a record. So they, because if you're asked that, or they have to put that somewhere on a job application, generally speaking, it'll apply. So I haven't heard that someone has not received it based on the fact that it hasn't been. But I can even send you the government website that goes over the WOTC details and just make sure. But yeah, never heard a client miss out on that. I will say, yes, it needs to be as they're hired, 30 days. So 30 days after hire or their first day on the job, this has to be filed. It is kind of a cumbersome task to do that. And so that's where Heartland comes in, is we are the only payroll company right now that's automized this process from start to finish. The onboarding captures the information with a survey, and then our system will tell the employer you're qualifying for this tax credit, and then they can hit submit, and we do all the back end filing. So there's some tax documents they have to file, the government entities and things like that. We do all of that in verification process as well. So we really take that piece off the employer's plate. The reason why a lot of people don't do it is because it is a lot of work. So that's something that we love to help our clients with. And then I think there was another question about, let me see. Was it, I know the Excel question came up, but it was about something else with any other kind of background? Or was that the one that you were just making sure it was the 1 year?
Yeah, it was the 1 year. And then it was just the claim for current employees and how far back. And
we can't do current. Yeah, we can't do current. It has to be current. Or if you're hiring at the moment, or, maybe you did it 5 days ago and we can get it still for you. Yeah.
So now that we kind of know who's in the room too, a little bit plug for both ends. So as the employer, perfect example, there's resources out there like Melissa, right, that can help you, because again, you have a million other things to worry about as an employer. And so you're like, wait, I got to file that. When do I do that? Who qualifies for it? So there's resources out there to help you do that. Or for questions, such as Melissa. And then on the flip side, for those of you who are trying to place your people, that's a service that you can now offer as well to your employees, as well as putting out there these services that are out there. So if you're like, hey, that's even beyond my scope, right? Like you can obviously recommend like people like Melissa, right, to go out there and be able to offer those types of services, because the more things that you're able to offer your employer, like the more apt they are then to like use your services, right, and trust you, because now you're kind of like the expert in that area. And not only are you supplying them with like candidates and employees and the support that goes with that, but then you're also helping them with these like tax credits, and that sort of stuff as well. So just as like an added benefit for you guys to help push kind of your client over the the finish line, if you will. Because especially if an employer is like, oh, I don't know, I don't want to take a chance on them. If you're like, hey, well, they also qualify for this tax benefit, right? Like sometimes that helps like push it over the line with the employer. So all right, perfect. Well, then I can dive into a little bit about what we do. I'll go kind of real quick through it since some of you guys are familiar. But as our one employer in the room, kind of asking like, it's great, like these tax credits sound great, but then like, where do I find these people? We're just going to tell you a little bit more about kind of like our services, what I do. And obviously we have some others in the room, depending where you're located at, just to highlight the fact that there's a lot of great organizations out in the community that are working with people, they're training with them, they truly understand not only people's needs, but they can like talk more about them than just somebody applying off the street. So that way, like I generally encourage to work with nonprofit organizations, to work with training facilities, because that way they have a little bit more insight on the candidates and can really help match them up with your jobs versus just looking at resumes that are coming in blindly. So I'll go over real quick kind of both my organizations. So Hire is the hub for integration, reentry, and employment. We're based here in Orange County. And we work, like I said, to align service providers, use research and informed data. So we really try to make sure that what we're doing works. We don't just say that we're doing it, and then to lift the voices of the individuals that we're working with. So how do we do that? People who come in to us after incarceration, we do like a assessment with them to find out what their needs are. Based on those needs, we then refer them out to partner organizations in the community. So if they need housing, if they need sober living, if they need transportation, education, we utilize the other partners in the community to make sure that the person's getting truly on their feet and all the support that they need. We then have what's called our Jobs Not Jails program, where we have individuals who are ready for work. We help them with employment readiness, so resume writing, job search, interviewing, dressing professionally, all that sort of stuff. And then we work with employers like a staffing agency. What we do is we actually go out and look at your culture, figure out what your needs are. And then we know our clients, and then we help match them up. So whenever an employer has a need, you can call us. And like I said, we'll figure out what's going on, and then we'll try to match a employee up with you. And we don't just place them and say goodbye, good luck. We follow up with both ends. One, we want to make sure the employee is successful, and we also want to make sure it's a successful hire on the employer end as well. So if your new employee suddenly starts showing up late or something's going on, we'll call them or reach out them just to make sure that they're staying on track and able to keep their job, because we don't want them to lose their jobs, and hopefully address it before it becomes an issue. We also have mentorship programs. We have volunteer programs. So individuals who are maybe looking to build their resume, or maybe we don't know as well, we have volunteer programs for them to help give back in the community, so they can kind of start building their resume, get some job experience, and be able to put themselves out there. We also put on resource fairs. So as an employer, if you're hiring, we put those on in the spring, our big ones at the Honda Center in Anaheim. So we welcome employers to come out. It's a great place to connect with individuals. So if you are hiring, we definitely welcome you to come. Great place to talk with people, meet with them firsthand, and hopefully be able to hire them. We also put on a youth and family fair in June. So that connects to kind of a slightly different audience. Do a lot of community education. And then we also have subcommittee meetings where we have one on youth reentry and one on employment. Those are open to anyone. So even our fellow service providers, you guys are welcome to attend. It's a great place to learn, share information. If you're an employer, it's a great place to connect with service providers. So if you're looking for employees and you're like, how do I connect with these nonprofits or learn about them? You can come to those meetings as well. And it's a great place to connect with them. And then on my consulting side, so you're like, that's great. I have this employee. Now what do I do with them? Do we need to create like a support system or a hiring process? Or how do we ask people about backgrounds? Any of that sort of stuff. So my consulting company helps both nonprofits, employers, and government agencies with program development, capacity building. We also do grant fund management, organizational management. So we also do training for your staff. So whether that's staff overseeing individuals coming in or all of your staff from top to bottom, we help with training and all sorts of stuff out there. So in a quick nutshell, that's kind of what we do. And also on the nonprofit side, so we also help nonprofits on my consulting. If you are looking to, how do we better reach employers? We do a lot of training on like job development, outreach, employer outreach, employment engagement plans, anything like that as well to help you guys if you're kind of struggling on how to like reach employers. We help with that as well. In fact, we did a big landscape study. I know friends outside you, a couple of you guys are from LA County. We did a big landscape study in 2022 with LA County in the healthcare industry specific to reentry. So learning about the healthcare needs, their openness, willingness to hire individuals who are formerly incarcerated, and how to get them connected. So we kind of do all ends of it. Whether you're an employer looking for employees, we can help create a pipeline or help create training for your staff. And on the nonprofit side too, we can help you guys grow and develop your programs as well to help get people placed into jobs. So that is me real quick. I don't know. Oops, let me stop sharing. see if anyone had any questions or anything. And on that, we may be right at our half hour. Melissa.
This is great. I'm wondering if you're willing to share the recording with us.
Yes, yeah, we'll be happy to. And we can also send out some more, as Melissa said, some of the stuff that she referenced and identified, so that way you guys have more information on the tax credits, where to go. If you guys have questions about how to fill it out or where do I start, Melissa's a great resource as well. So we'll make sure you guys should have our info from like the invite and stuff, but you guys have our email addresses, and we'll be happy to help with any of that as well. So
I just dropped my email in the chat, and then now I'm going to put my direct line in there. So feel free, text, call if you guys have any questions, and you can give that information out to those employers as well. If that's something you know, hey, I have Melissa does these tax credits for employees. She gets everybody in a system that they were able to get those handled. So we could uncover a lot of different things for them. Sorry, I forgot the .com after the E-HPS. So there's a .com after that.
And we messed up the period in your email address in the invite. So I'm glad you guys emailed both of us. We typoed Melissa's email. So
all right.
We'll
one
get
of them will reach me. Yeah, one will reach me at some point. But more of an immediate response, like say you're in a meeting even and you guys, there's somebody asks a question, feel free to text me and I'll get right back to you. So that's my one and only cell phone, and all of my clients and partners that I work with reach me on that, and I'm really quick to get back to you.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we thank you guys for coming. And like I said, if you have any follow-up questions or any other resources, anything, we're happy to provide them to you guys. And we're happy that you guys came.
Thank you so
Have a good
much,
evening.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for spending your evening over here.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the information.
Thank you.
Very knowledgeable. Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Awesome. Bye.